Today, we hear in the Gospel how our Lord Jesus multiplied the fish. Simon Peter, and those with him toiled all night and caught not a single fish. But our Lord gave his blessing, and Peter listened to his word and followed his command, and their nets were breaking because there were so many fish that they caught. We remember other times throughout the Gospels where Christ performed miracles, but miracles that show his connection to our everyday life. He fed the thousands of people who came to hear him. He calmed the seas when he was sailing with his disciples. His intervention in everyday life was made manifest to his disciples and also to us. Yes, indeed, he performed many other miracles. He gave sight back to the blind, healed the paralytics, released those who were bound by demons, even raised Lazarus from the dead. But today's miracle, and those like him, pertain to our everyday life. We need to work. We need to eat. We need to travel safely. And even in our everyday life, we see in today's gospel that our Lord is there blessing our efforts, if we call upon him. The fathers of the church say that everything that we do asking for God's blessing is well-pleasing in the sight of God. Many times, brothers and sisters, we live many different lives. Sometimes we hear people say, I have a church life, a family life, a work life. We have all these lives. And it seems like they're all separate from one another, independent from one another. Our acquaintances at work, of course, may not know all of our family members, and vice versa. And try talking about church in work at the lunchroom. You just don't do it. But that doesn't mean that God permeates every aspect of our life. For we have only one life. And God comes into this world and gives us his light to enlighten everything that we do. Whether it is following his commandments, whether it is striving to do good deeds, or whether it is just trying to get through our daily life of fighting traffic and getting to work on time and having dinner ready for our family. He wants to intervene and interact and bless all our efforts if we call upon him. Saint Nikon of Optina says that self-sufficiency closes our spiritual eyes. And then that which we see is not reality. What does he mean by this? What he means is that when we live our life in such a way, our everyday life, and we rely solely on ourselves, on our abilities, on our experience, on our knowledge, then we don't see reality in the fullest extent, because we only see reality from our perspective. How many times do we see this in relationships? We have our position, and we defend our position. And many times that's all we see and understand. But if only we opened our eyes, we'd see maybe different perspectives, different angles concerning that question. And then maybe we wouldn't have argued so fiercely over something that really wasn't that important. When we become entrenched in our own thinking, when we rely solely on ourselves, when we don't even reach out to those around us, we isolate ourselves. And when we do things not asking for God's blessings, He's not going to hit us over the head with it. We're going to proceed without His blessings. And we see in today's gospel, the fisherman toiled all night and didn't catch a thing. But with God's blessings, their work produced much fruit. St. Nican of Optina also says that we should go about our everyday life, do everything that we do as if we're doing it before the face of God. Because after all, He does see everything. But think about it. When you're standing at the stove making supper, when you're cleaning the bathroom floor, when you're sitting in traffic on the Beltway, when you're trying to meet your deadlines at work, when you're studying for a test in school, or whether you're standing in church, we all stand before the face of God. It doesn't matter where we go. Even in the Psalms, it says, I can descend to the depths of the earth. I can go out to the far off in the seas. And even there thou art, O Lord. And when we conduct ourselves in this way, then we open ourselves up more to God's grace. When we live our life with such reverence, regardless of where we are. So let us, brothers and sisters, ask for God's blessings on everything that we strive to do. And when things don't work out, let us ask God to show us His will. Let us ask Him to open our eyes so that we may see reality in His light and not only through our eyes. Let us always strive to walk with reverence, no matter where we are and what we do. Just as He blessed today's fishermen, let us always ask Him to bless us in our everyday life. He loves us, and we are called to love Him in return. Love is a relationship. We love Him no matter where we are, and He loves us likewise. So let us support that love. Let us nurture that relationship. Whether we're standing in front of the stove making supper, or we're in church offering our prayers, God sees everything. He knows our needs. He understands our desires. He sees our weaknesses and our triumphs. Let us always ask Him to bless everything that we strive to do, so that it will always be well-pleasing in the sight of God. Amen.